If you're living in Florida or planning to retire here, give me just 10 minutes. Because what's happening right now could wipe out 15 years of your savings in a single summer. Condo prices across Florida have dropped more than 28% in just 12 months. But that's not even the worst part. Insurance costs have tripled, property taxes keep climbing, and over 40% of retired buyers from northern states are now trying to get out of Florida before the end of 2025. If you think this is just a temporary correction, look closer, because the 5 cities I'm about to show you are seeing the fastest price declines in America, and those who are waiting a little longer are becoming the first losers. I know you don't want fear-mongering, but if you're over 50, living on retirement income, and once believed that Florida is always safe, then this video is a wake-up call, not a warning. You don't have to be an investor to be affected. Just owning a condo or planning to buy one already puts you in the middle of the storm. Watch this video until the end, because in the final minute, I'll show you a little-known indicator that quietly predicts exactly when Florida's housing market will hit bottom. And trust me, that moment isn't far away. 5. Pensacola, the capital of stranded dreams. Florida's housing market isn't cooling, it's collapsing. That haunting line came from Jimmy Patronis, Florida's chief financial officer, during a press conference in early 2025. And if you want to know which place he was referring to first, look toward the northwest of the state, where the sunset glows over the white sands of Pensacola. Once praised as an affordable paradise, the middle-class American's dream of a livable coastal haven, it's now becoming the symbol of a Florida dream sinking beneath the waves. 3 years ago, retired couples from Ohio, Michigan, or Texas saw Pensacola as the peaceful ending to a lifetime of hard work. A beachfront condo could be bought for just over $300,000. Living costs were moderate, and the pace of life far gentler than Miami or Tampa. But by mid-2025, the average price for that same condo hovered around $215,000, a drop of more than 30% in less than 2 years, enough to turn hundreds of homeowners from winners into debtors. The cause isn't a credit meltdown or reckless speculation like in 2008. What's killing Pensacola's market is cost. Every bill has ballooned as if someone doubled the price of living itself. Insurance that once cost just over $2,000 a year has soared past $7,000. Condo maintenance fees, HOA dues, have climbed from $400 a month to nearly $800, not counting the sudden reserve fund charges to upgrade building structures under new regulations. In some complexes, each owner is forced to pay an extra $30,000, and if anyone can't afford it, the remaining residents must split the difference. Linda Martin, 67 years old, a retired nurse, is one of them. She sold her home in Ohio, bought a condo by Pensacola Bay, intending to live out her final years in peace. "I thought I made the right choice," she said, "but now I have to sell at a loss just to get out." And Linda's story is not unique. From the luxurious coastal areas to the aging buildings inland, hundreds of condos have been sitting quietly on the market for half a year without a single offer. Many owners have simply walked away, leaving the banks to handle the mess. When the Surfside building collapsed in Miami in 2021, Florida tightened its structural safety laws for all high-rise buildings. On paper, it was the right move. But in Pensacola, where most condos are more than 40 years old, it turned into a nightmare. Once engineering reports identified necessary repairs, condo boards were forced to impose special assessments, and that's when the domino effect began. Those who couldn't pay left, banks stopped lending, and buyers disappeared. A 2-bedroom unit can now sit for 8 months without a contract. even after its price has been slashed 3 or 4 times. On local message boards, residents speak about each other with sadness rather than anger. They no longer blame the government or investors. They just feel abandoned. One middle-aged man wrote, "I bought a condo here to retire, and now I have to work 2 extra jobs to cover insurance." It's the clearest picture of reality in Pensacola, where the middle class once saw themselves as the backbone of Florida, but are now victims of their own dream. The crisis isn't just about money. It's the collapse of trust. When neighbors sell at a loss, realtors shut down their offices, and newspapers publish longer lists of buildings banned from mortgages every day, people start believing that things can only get worse. And once confidence leaves the market, no number is strong enough to bring anyone back. Even so, if you visit Pensacola in the afternoon, the sun still sparkles on the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, and fishing boats still drift quietly by. That beauty has never disappeared. It's just that the price to keep it has become too high. Florida remains the dream of millions of Americans. But in Pensacola, people are realizing that even sunshine comes with a price. And the question hanging over every "for sale" sign is, who still has the courage to buy? When even those who have lived their whole lives under this sun are finding their way out. 4. Sarasota, the city that lost its shine. Could a city once called the crown jewel of Florida's Gulf Coast really become the epicenter of the 2025 housing collapse? That question seemed impossible until you see the endless listings lining every street in Sarasota, where just 2 years ago, people had to line up to reserve a waterfront condo. The story of the Andersons is a very real slice of that fall. The retired couple from Chicago chose Sarasota, thinking it was their final paradise, filled with art, sunshine, and blue waters. In 2022, they spent $620,000 on a 2-bedroom condo on the 14th floor overlooking Sarasota Bay. Their realtor told them prices would rise at least 15% a year, but just 2 years later, that same condo is valued at under $440,000 and still hasn't sold, even after another 10% cut. "We don't even dare check the listings anymore," Mr. Anderson said. "Every time we do, it feels like losing another piece of our retirement." Sarasota didn't crash overnight. It fell slowly, like the sunset fading over the bay. During its peak in 2021-2022, waves of newcomers flooded in: New York investors, Midwestern retirees, and young remote workers. Waterfront condos sold within 48 hours, sometimes before photos were even taken. But then 3 things happened at once. Interest rates spiked, mandatory structural inspections were enforced, and insurance costs soared. When those 3 blades cut together, confidence shattered. A condo that in 2022 had insurance costs of just around $3,500 a year now costs up to $9,000, if you can even find a company willing to insure it. HOA fees exceed $1,200 per month, not counting the tens of thousands in reserve funds required to meet the new milestone inspection rules. For retirees living on savings, those aren't just numbers. They're limits. Some buildings have seen dozens of owners walk away, leaving dark hallways, broken elevators, and empty pools behind. Sarasota was once Florida's pride, elegant yet calm, developed yet still artistic and natural. Now that very elegance has become a burden. Luxury projects along the bayfront that used to sell out before the foundations were even poured are now offering 20% discounts, free furniture, or 1 year of waived HOA fees. But buyers' mindsets have changed. No one fears missing out anymore. They fear buying at the wrong time. A veteran broker downtown said, 2 years ago we sold dreams, now we sell worry. That shift may sound subtle, but in real estate, it's the deepest crack of all. Once expectations reverse, everything else is just fallout. On Main Street, cafes once crowded during high season now sit half empty. The people who used to discuss investments now talk about insurance premiums and property assessments. For sale, motivated seller. Flyers hang next to art exhibition posters, like two faces of a city struggling to balance beauty and truth. What makes Sarasota truly special isn't just the price drop. It's the shift in the mindset of the wealthy. In the past, when the market shook, the upper class would usually hold their assets, waiting for prices to recover. This year is different. They're the ones pulling out first. A string of penthouses once owned by New Yorkers and Torontonians are now being quietly sold. No ads, just word of mouth. When even the most financially secure decide to leave first, the market loses its foundation. The irony is, amid the crisis, Sarasota's beauty remains untouched. Siesta Key's sand is still white as sugar, and the sunlight still paints the bay in gold. But behind that postcard view stand half-lit towers, where the night guard says only a few apartments turn on their lights after dusk. The city hasn't lost its beauty. It's lost the confidence that once made it feel invincible. Median values have fallen over 30%, inventory has surged 65%, and rental yields have been cut in half. And while everyone knows the market will eventually rebound, Sarasota's sense of invincibility is gone. When a place once thought too strong to fall finally bends under the weight of costs and regulations, people begin to wonder, if Sarasota isn't safe anymore, then where is? Sarasota is still a beautiful city. Only now, living there means paying with caution and realism, not with the illusion that prices will always rise. And if you want to keep uncovering the real stories behind Florida's housing storm, don't go anywhere. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, because this journey is just beginning. 3. Tampa, the city burning itself out in a cooling fever. We are witnessing a painful but necessary correction, said Mayor Jane Castor during a March 2025 press conference, as the city of Tampa announced an average condo price drop of more than 25% within just 12 months. The statement, calm on the surface, marked the beginning of a crisis spreading across Florida's west coast. Tampa was once the symbol of the new Florida, a city for remote workers, for middle-aged retirees seeking affordability, and for investors who believed a port city never cools down. But by spring 2025, Tampa had changed color. The glass towers along the bay, once glowing every night, now flicker sparsely. Flyers reading, "For sale, price reduced again," are layered over one another across Bayshore, Channelside, and Water Street. The story of Mark Douglas, 58, a small boat repair shop owner near the port, captures the essence of the city. In 2021, when cheap money flooded the market, Mark sold his old house and bought a 2-bedroom downtown condo for $490,000. An investment for retirement, he said. But by 2025, the same condo was listed for only $370,000, with no buyers in sight. Meanwhile, the building's insurance premium rose from $4,200 to $9,800 per year, and HOA fees reached nearly $1,000 a month. "We fix boats for rich people," he said, "and now even the rich don't go out to sea anymore." What makes Tampa special is that it's not a tourist or luxury city, but a place where the real economy operates. Ports, logistics, healthcare, and aviation. But for that very reason, Tampa's fall is structural. When ownership costs exceed the ability of the working and middle class, even the most sustainable market collapses. The The median condo price has dropped from $310,000 to $230,000. Inventory has surged nearly 80%, and the average listing time has jumped from 29 days to over 70. Airbnb investors are fleeing as occupancy rates fall below 50% and revenue drops by 30%. It's not just individuals. Businesses are also pulling back their commitments. A high-rise project in West Shore, funded by a California investment fund, has been indefinitely halted after banks tightened credit lines. The downtown area, once promised to be a seamless live work-play environment, is now cluttered with unfinished floors and unsold units. Tampa once prided itself on being able to absorb risks better than Miami, less dependent on tourism, with stable jobs and affordable prices. But as insurance costs triple, banks tighten lending, and property taxes creep up 6%, those advantages have vanished. With people earning around $70,000 a year, buying a $400,000 condo has now become a distant luxury dream. At Ballast Point Park, where people once strolled to watch the sunset, now only a few groups of elderly residents sit and talk about insurance prices. An old lady named Helen smiled sadly. "We're not afraid of hurricanes. We're afraid of the bills." The words sound light, but they hit straight at the reality that the real risk in Florida isn't just natural disasters. It's the cost of survival. Tampa today hasn't lost its energy. It's just paying the price for too many years of believing in endless growth. The city is still beautiful, still alive, but it's no longer the affordable paradise that thousands once dreamed of. And as the mindset shifts from buy now to wait for prices to fall further, the spiral of decline shows no sign of stopping. Some say Tampa is just rebalancing. Others ask, if Florida's strongest foundation is shaking, can the rest really stand? That question has no answer yet, but it's certainly keeping thousands of condo owners in Florida awake at night. So what do you think? Is Tampa adjusting to recover, or truly entering a prolonged downturn? Leave your thoughts below, because your own experience will reveal how Florida is changing from inside every home. 2. West Palm Beach. A white paradise behind luxurious curtains. Luxury doesn't sell anymore, it bleeds. That line echoed through the Palm Beach Real Estate Summit 2025, when a longtime investor stood up in the middle of the hall, placed the microphone down, and walked out. Dozens of others quietly followed, because on the projection screen behind them, the numbers were telling a story that was no longer glamorous. Luxury condo prices in West Palm Beach have dropped more than 25%, inventory has doubled, and short-term rental revenue is down as much as 40%. West Palm Beach, once a symbol of understated elegance, is now sliding down a slope few dare to name. Along Flagler Drive, oceanfront condos that used to sell out within a week now sit quietly on the MLS for 3 months without a single offer. The glass towers still shine, but many windows no longer have lights inside. The story of Mr. and Mrs. Clark, a retired couple from New Jersey, reflects the sentiment of those who once believed in stability and sophistication. In 2022, they bought a 2-bedroom condo on the 11th floor of the Bristol for $1.3 million, a source of pride, a new beginning. But earlier this year, when the building announced insurance fees had risen to $16,000 per year and HOA fees exceeded $800 per month, they were forced to sell. "We're not poor," Mrs. Clark said, "but it's insane to pay $3,000 a month just for the right to live in your own home." The dry numbers hidden behind the glittering surface. The median price is down 24% compared to 2023. Over 40% of condos in coastal high-rises are currently listed for sale, and property insurance has surged 300% in just 3 years. But what makes West Palm Beach different isn't just falling prices. It's the collapse of faith in the safety of the wealthy. When even million-dollar homeowners can't handle the costs, who still believes that luxury is immune to crisis? Along Clematis Street, cafes that were once packed with investors and brokers are now nearly empty. A young agent whispered, "It's strange. People used to come here to brag about deals. Now everyone pretends to be busy so they don't have to talk about prices." On the ground floors of bayfront buildings, you can now see new signs, for lease instead of for sale. Developers are shifting toward long-term rentals just to avoid the growing pile of unsold inventory. The irony is that West Palm Beach remains desperately beautiful. The sunsets still paint the ocean gold. The streets are still postcard perfect clean. But in residents' hearts, the feeling is different. It's no longer pride in, "I live in Palm Beach," but fear. Can I still afford to keep my condo? HOA associations are holding constant meetings to discuss special assessments, extra fees that can reach $50,000 per household, just to meet the state's new safety regulations. A structural engineer in the South End said quietly, "Many of these buildings were built in the 80s and have never had a proper structural inspection. Now the law requires it, and no one can afford it." When aging infrastructure collides with new expenses, even the luxury market collapses, just silently. No bankruptcies, no headlines, just condos with their lights still on, but no one home. West Palm Beach is slipping into a strange phase. Wealthy enough not to crash outright, yet too expensive to sustain itself. A city where people still smile in cafes, but behind those smiles are emails asking the HOA for one more month's grace. Florida still has sunshine, still has ocean breeze. But in Palm Beach, what's fading isn't the color of the water. It's the sense of trust. What do you think? Is West Palm Beach simply cleansing its market? Or is this the final curtain for Florida's golden age? If stories like this deserve to be heard, hit that like button. Because every single one helps real voices stand out in a sea of glossy marketing. 1. Cape Coral. When paradise starts to bleed, no sirens went off. No one had time to say, "Run." But Cape Coral, the city of shimmering blue canals, has started to bleed, one condo at a time. It all began after Hurricane Ian in 2022. When the wind passed, people thought it was over. But in truth, that was when the financial storm began. 3 years later, in 2025, the water stains on canal-front buildings remain, yet the biggest cracks now run through residents' balance sheets. A June 2025 report from the Lee County property appraiser revealed average condo prices in Cape Coral have dropped over 30% from their 2022 peak. Insurance costs have jumped from $3,500 to $11,000 per year. And more than 1,800 urgent sale listings are now sitting on the MLS. For many, Cape Coral is no longer a paradise, but an escape plan. The Torres family, who moved here from Michigan after the pandemic, once believed this was their new beginning. A 2-bedroom condo by the canal, a balcony facing the sunset, priced at $320,000. Now they pay over $900 a month in HOA fees, $10,000 for insurance, and just received a special assessment notice for another $22,000 to upgrade the flood protection system. "We came here to retire," Mr. Torres said. "But now, every morning, we just count how many more months we can hold on." Cape Coral was once the symbol of the dreamy Florida, peaceful, clear waters, and low costs. But now, those same waters reflect a harsh reality. Paradise can no longer afford to exist. Many insurance companies have withdrawn from the coastal area, forcing residents to buy through Citizens Property Insurance, the state's last resort provider, with prices 60% higher and far fewer protections. Local agents say they've never seen so many people leaving. Older residents from New York or Ohio are moving inland, to Ocala, Gainesville, or even Tennessee, just to escape the insurance bills. A reverse migration never seen before, leaving the coast to survive. Along Cape Coral Parkway, you'll notice something strange. The homes still shine under the sun, but the for sale signs stand frozen like statues. Canal-side cafes sit empty, and at the marinas, rows of wooden docks rot away because no one can afford repairs. A neighbor whispered, "Here, everyone knows they're living in a trap. The only difference is who escapes first." What makes Cape Coral different is the awakening of its residents. There are no more illusions about Florida forever sunshine. Local Facebook groups no longer talk about tourism or investment. They share lists of safer places to retire. One post drew thousands of comments. "If I have to pay $12,000 a year just to be afraid of hurricanes, I'm moving inland." From above, Cape Coral is still breathtaking. The canals running in perfect lines, sunlight sliding across the water like silver. But look closer, and you'll see signs of a slow bleed. Empty condos, unanchored boats, and the Florida dream quietly drifting away with the tide. Is Cape Coral just going through a temporary correction? Or is this the warning shot for Florida's entire coastline? Leave your thoughts below, because the real story isn't complete without the voices of those who've lived it. Florida is still as beautiful as the day you dreamed of, but that dream has never been more expensive. Condo prices are falling, but the cost of keeping a home has never been higher. And in the middle of this chaos, the worst thing isn't losing money, it's losing calm. If you're thinking of selling, don't let fear make the decision for you. If you're planning to buy, don't let the promise of a bargain deceive you. The market will recover, but only those who stay rational and patient will make it through this phase without losing everything. This is no longer a game of greed, but a test of understanding. And if you've watched this far, it means you're different. You're seeking knowledge instead of chasing rumors. Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your story might be the warning for thousands of others living with the same fear. Thank you for watching until the end, because only those who stay clear-headed seek the truth, not the promises.